Hey, what's up, everybody? Chris Graham here, joined tonight by Ben Carswell, Christian Jasper, Jason Owens, Mike McCullen. Boys, it's that time. Um, we'll start with the question that we always ask. However, tonight we will get slightly different answers. Ben Carswell, what are you drinking tonight?
Water.
That's awesome. Mike, what do you have in front of you this evening?
I have a sun-kissed zero sugar only because I'm out of Gatorade.
Oh.
Jason Owens, what are you drinking this evening?
I got a Yingling Flight, little hair of the dog tonight.
You have
Or water.
Water in front of you. Christian, what are you drinking?
I went with hot chocolate again this time.
Man, only one of us has an actual beer in front of him. I got a Mama's Little Yellow Pills by Oscar Blues Brewery, a Bohemian Pilsner. It's not bad,
Fancy.
I guess. Ish. Everybody is drinking water tonight because, well, we got fucked up yesterday watching the finale of the NTT IndyCar series. We'll start the recap with, does anybody know who won?
Colton Herta, I think. And I only know that because I have timing up.
I was going to say, I have the results in front of me. Jason, was that before or after you fell out of a trash can?
Oh, that was well before I fell out of a recycle bin.
Oh. We had a good day yesterday, people. And I will say this, it was a good day for IndyCar. With the exception of Ed Jones making himself public enemy number one on lap one, all three of our championship contenders did exactly what they had to do, almost. Joseph Newgarden had a spectacular race for Team Penske. Pato got hosed, and we will discuss that one in a minute. But Alex Palou, what do we make of this kid? I mean, yesterday he wins an IndyCar Series championship. Today he's got pictures with the Astor Cup eating chicken and waffles. Like,
he's at Roscoe's mowing on a chicken leg like a true champion.
Yep.
Champion.
Is there anything more American than banging down some fried chicken?
Chicken and waffles at Roscoe's in Long Beach? Hell no. That's
What a
beautiful.
guy. What a guy.
With the Astor Cup sitting next to him. That's the best part.
And he made sure to get the ring in the shot.
The ring.
He sure did.
What a guy.
He's like, hey, here's
an incredible
here's
video.
this delicious piece of fried chicken. Ding, 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 ding.
Make sure the glint is right in the camera there, okay, boys?
Oh, if you didn't know,
Yeah.
I have a championship ring on.
In case this giant sterling silver trophy next to my chicken and waffles didn't give it away.
Didn't give it away. And a margarita, just for good measure. He can celebrate. I think he's old enough to celebrate.
I think we can say that IndyCar is in really good hands for this crop of drivers.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what? That's one of the things that I took away from this was even with the stuff that went on at the start of the race, nobody was out there running around acting like a tool. I mean, we have the rookies and young kids were spectacular all season long. The veterans that you might have expected to be there, most of them were there. Is it any surprise that at the season finale, your podium would be Colton Herta, Joseph Newgarden, and Scott Dixon?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. And Newgarden was running down Herta. Another couple of laps, Newgarden would have had that win.
Yeah, it was fun, man. That was a spectacular show. Simon Pagenaud had a great run to close out his tenure with Team Penske. Alex Rossi was sixth, Harvey seventh. There were a lot of good names in good places, potentially even rounding out careers with Sebastian Bourdais finishing in eighth.
Yeah. Harvey, I think, finally got rid of the Andretti anvil for the last 3 or 4 races this season and put in some strong top 10 runs. I thought it was a really good race. No, like even taking the championship implications out of the picture, I just thought it was a fun race to watch.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was a good race. The racing was good, top to bottom. Jimmy Johnson finished on the lead lap ahead of,
and not the last car on the lead
and not
lap
the last
either?
car on the lead lap. He had 3 guys behind him on the lead lap.
Daly went askew.
I see what you did there.
Oh,
I am the eldest. I got to bring the dad jokes.
Yeah, we did
It
learn
was-
that yesterday.
It was a good race. It was a really good race. I don't know. It was a complete opposite of Nashville, which is really nice. Only reason why I say that is because it's another city course and it's still kind of tight, but most of the guys have been on this one a lot.
and even though a lot of the guys have been on this, there were still a lot of brushed walls, a lot of possibly bent toe links. They were still going full send that entire weekend. So
It was good.
Yeah,
It was a solid event.
You know what? That was it. It was a good show. And quite frankly, the entire weekend was good.
The IMSA race was fantastic.
The IMSA
with
race
a
was good.
Good amount of drama and salt between former F1 rivals now banging wheels in IMSA. I don't know how that 01 finished the race with half of the rear wing.
yeah, he tore that thing up.
I'm even talking about from an IndyCar perspective. You had good drama in qualifying,
And in practice,
we had
and
some
in the
really bad drama in qualifying, and you had
We
good
had
drama
race
in the
control
warm-up.
doing race control things.
Yeah, that was.
We had Elio and seething Rossi.
Oh
in
my god!
Oh.
In the warm up, in the morning warm up, no one gets mad at morning warm up.
Apparently, Elio
I don't
had
think
piss
I've
and
ever seen
vinegar
Elio
for
that
breakfast.
pissed before.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to ask a question, Chris.
Yeah,
Should Long Beach be the season finale every year?
No, I think it belongs in April.
I think that's fair.
there's a big part of me that says you can't harp date equity and then say we're going to move Long Beach.
Yep.
Our longest tenured race, well, second longest tenured race, we're going to move just because. But man, was that fantastic.
That was a
It
great
ticks
race.
so many boxes.
I think they do
And-
need to get a race like set as the last race because it's been so many different places.
And Chris
You
made
need
a
to- it's
really
sit
good
somewhere.
point. They need to get date equity. Like you can go through an IMSA schedule, right? And I can look at any year and say, okay, last weekends of January, boom, Daytona, St. Patrick's Day, Sebring, Long Beach, beginning of April. And you can do the entire IMSA schedule. And without looking at the IMSA schedule, you can go through all the traditional IMSA races and have that kind of down within a couple of days. IndyCar and has notoriously done this. And I even remember hearing Midweek Motorsport discussing this about IndyCar, where the IndyCar just does not have date equity. They'll try a race here, they'll try a race there. Like look at next year. Now there's not a doubleheader in Detroit. There's only one. Why? Like they at some point they've got to set these races up, one, so people can go to them and make travel plans and say, hey, I am going to plan my mid-September vacation to go to Laguna Seca. They're just trying too much shit that isn't sticking, and they gotta just settle on some stuff.
Yeah.
I tend to agree with that. And as much as it pains me to say, I think I agree with the Boston Consulting Group, to bring up a name.
Oh God, drink.
Yeah, okay. Yes, I'll take that one. I kind of
Please.
think IndyCar needs to be done before football.
Well, they're pretty close to it next year.
Pretty close. You still have a Labor Day weekend race at Portland. You
Yeah, but
still have
NFL doesn't start on Labor Day weekend now. So, I mean, you got college football that weekend, but really you only have the season finale up against the NFL next year.
which, quite frankly, is going to play right into Sunday Night Football anyway.
Exactly.
I don't know why they
So-
have a TBD listed there because it's gonna be a 3:30 p.m. start in the East.
Yeah.
Because they want that to go up against to be the feeder coverage.
I mean, really, the broadcast schedule next year is fantastic. Like, only Belle Isle and Worldwide Tech are on USA. And then I'm sorry for all of our hat neighbors to the north that Streets of Toronto is Peacock only.
I think that might be a hedge that they still don't think is going to happen.
I think that's fair.
I have a feeling that if they get closer to it, they might punt some Law and Order replays off of USA to squeeze it in on USA.
Here's the other part that comes with that. It was discussed by Penske Entertainment people and NBC people that if you want to have a total of 17 of 19, I believe, or something like that on network television, you had to give them a bone somewhere. And NBC has, I can all but guarantee you the Streets of Toronto race that's on Peacock will be handled by a local production crew. It will not be.
So they don't have to take the trucks across the border.
Bingo.
And yeah,
that is a big time concession money wise.
And it's also a concession for NBC because it gives them a bone to go out and sell Peacock as well. Right. Like, I guarantee you they'll have some incentivized full season package discount around the start of the season that is like, hey, watch everything. And the new in-house Indy lights that Roger's bringing in-house. And
well, I thought the plan was that every race is also going to be simulcast on Peacock next year, too.
Oh, it is. But I think they're going to use the fact that there is one race that is only on Peacock to try and drive subscriber volume.
Yeah, you're talking a very small number of a very small number. I don't. How many subs does one race on Peacock drive? My guess is going to be less than 1,000. When you consider what Peacock offers and where IndyCar sits on the sports totem pole.
You mean the fact that when IndyCar is live, the Peacock app shows you 27 different soccer and or lacrosse and or Australian rules football upcoming live streams rather than the fact that there's a live IndyCar session?
It leaves a lot to be desired on the user interface front. But you also make a good point, is that Peacock's potential subscriber numbers are instantly reduced by the number of customers that Comcast and Xfinity have, simply because if you subscribe to Xfinity, you get Peacock included for free. So their market is already reduced by whatever number of subscribers that they have. So,
but I bet you do some fancy accounting tricks to count that into the subscriber base.
You know that they do count them as subscribers because I had Xfinity before I moved, and weirdly enough, my Peacock still works, even though I canceled Xfinity in June. It still works. I was fully ready to fork out my $5 a month. Yeah, but it shows as a subscription. As soon as you go and you sign up for it and you register that Peacock account, it shows you as a subscription, even though you don't pay for it because you registered through it as a Comcast subscriber. So yeah, they're doing some funny stuff to show the subscription. But the point is that they can't go off and gather those subscribers unless you can convince them to go to the website and sign up for it. Like actual paying subscribers, you've got to convince either the cord cutters who have nothing but internet, or your Spectrums, or your I don't even know what other cable companies are left at this point. I know Comcast, Spectrum. There's not a lot of big ones anymore. So you've got to go after those markets. And And Peacock does bring some value. It's a decent value, especially if you want to watch every Law and Order ever made for the last 30 years.
I don't want us to get too far off the rails down that streaming discussion, because I think that is something that, quite frankly, we could dedicate an entire episode.
Yeah, that could be
to
a whole
in the
off-season show.
Yeah.
It's something that, should we have seen the writing on the wall with Indy Lights going to NBC/Peacock and the rest of the road to Indy staying on their, I will call it, rinky-dink platform. You have a very clear delineation now with Indy Lights being taken over by Penske, brought back in-house. Anderson Promotions is not the premier partner of IndyCar at this point.
Well, maybe if they weren't broadcasting things with security cameras.
I more ask the question of, are we going to see some sort of F4, F3 Indy Lights hookup?
What, like they bring in F4 Americas? I don't know. I think the Road to Indy brand, like from a naming perspective, is so strong that you will still see RTI on the bill at all of the traditional races, right? They're not going to bring in an additional series, I don't think. And the other thing is, it's IndyCar. They run on ovals. The F4 America's cars don't have the Xylon intrusion panels to be able to run on ovals. So really the only F3, F4 race prep chassis in North America that can run road and oval are Indy Pro 2000 and
that matters.
USF.
That matters absolutely nothing. Romain Grosjean was able to very rapidly adapt to ovals. Scott McLaughlin was able to very readily adapt to ovals. Pato had never driven an oval before he got to Indy Lights, I guess. This was one of those deals of the ovals are not important. The reality is you have an iffy relationship with Texas. You have a doubleheader at Iowa, and you have Gateway. You're not
right. Gateway and Iowa drive like road courses.
Yeah, but any F3 Americas or F4 America series can't run the ovals. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, well, yeah.
The cars cannot be safe to run on the ovals. Therefore, they won't be included in those race weekends. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, well, yes, correct.
Do we see convergence at some point, though? And again, this is probably a fantastic off-season show. Do we see convergence? Because at the end of the day, all the RTI cars are built roughly to an F3 specification. The Formula Regional Americas are built to the F3 specification. Do we at some point just see convergence with all of these and sanctioning switches from, IndyCar to let the FIA do it and let ACUS do it, and then IndyCar just picks up the folks as they see fit to bring them into Lights?
Potentially. I mean, really, the Tatus is built the PM22 and USF22 chassis. They're basically F3 plus monocoques with the additional oval intrusion panels, right?
I guess the question is, do we see Anderson IndyCar dropping the relationship with Anderson Promotions for the Road to Indy entirely, let ACUS do all of the junior formula stuff, and then if you're good enough for IndyCar, you come into Lights, and it's the Lights organization.
I don't think ACUS is the right one. That's the Automobile Competition Club of the United States. That
sounds very French.
Well, it basically is. It's the FIA's national governing body here. The problem is ACUS is theoretically owned, or at least controlled, by IndyCar, NASCAR, IMSA, and the NHRA, and the SCCA. There's 5. So ACUS is... America is very different from the rest of the world in that, like, British formula racing falls under the national governing body. that gets government money and is an arm of the government.
Right.
ACUS here is you got to have something, so we'll call it this. You can't have an FIA sanctioned series, which IndyCar, NASCAR, all of them are. You can't fall under the FIA without a competition committee. So that's all that ACUS is. Now, is there a very real question of, does Dan Anderson end up under the SCCA?
Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot that the Formula Regional Americas is a sanctioned SCCA series.
Yep, that's why they were there with SVRA and Trans Am. And they're promoted. They have their own promoter, which is Pirella, I believe. If I'm not mistaken. Pirella was there. But, and I'll say this, sort of, not to take a shot at Formula Regional Americas or F4 US, the strength of field, I guess we'll call it.
The talent's not there today yet.
The equivalent Euro Series, right? FRECA, Formula Regional European Championship Alpine. That is a major feeder series, right? Euro Formula Open, which is the same F3 spec, is a major feeder series for F1.
And if
I was at the race Sunday, I could not tell you more than like 3 drivers that I watched.
That's something
I sat there and watched them race.
If you're Liberty Media, do you want to have, I'll say, competition? Do they go the Bernie Eccleston route of the 80s of we want to bury everything that is possibly competing with us? All of a sudden, the Road to Indy series go by the wayside. Because if you start offering incentives to your F1 teams to pull the Formula Regional Americas kids, now you're talking, it's a cheaper playground than F3 in Europe.
Yep.
The other thing here is that the Formula Regional Americas champion gets an Indy Lights scholarship.
Yeah, they changed that now. It's not Super Formula anymore. They get that HPD scholarship. Go to Indy Lights. And
so what is the Toyota money going to do on the ladder?
Going to sit them to the Toyota Racing Series
in New Zealand.
Yeah,
it's going to send them the NASCAR route where the money is.
It's the TRD route.
Yes.
Win the F4 Toyota Championship, you get a truck run.
Now, here's something that is completely off topic, so we can get. It's a continued look ahead thing, but if you look at the 2022 IndyCar schedule, the Streets of Long Beach does not have a title branding on it. Now, none of the racetracks have title branding, but
it was traditionally the
Toyota.
Even after Toyota wasn't in the series, it was the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach.
Yep.
That is so. Correct. Do we have any visibility into the current term of the Acura branding as the title sponsor? I don't know. There's too much smoke for me out of people that are reputable sources that are like, oh, there's this rumor about Toyota that we totally can't talk about, but oh, by the way, I probably already know something that I can't share. Like, there's way too much smoke there for there to not be a fire that Toyota is coming back in.
Yeah, but there was a whole bunch of smoke there about Ferrari and Porsche too.
But this is different. This, to me, is not industry people saying, "Oh yeah, they're going to be back." Like, when you look at the next IndyCar engine formula, I was doing a little digging today. It's what, 2.4 liter twin turbo, right?
Yep.
Conveniently, what is the current LMH engine in Toyota's top flight sports car?
It's 2.4 V6.
2.4 liter V6 twin turbo with a hybrid power unit.
That is spicy.
So you already have the engine developed. It'll probably take some tweaks, right? Obviously, but it's not like you have to greenfield a 2.4 liter V6 twin turbo in order to compete in IndyCar.
Yeah,
You
they've already
have it.
They already have a competition grade block and heads and everything that you need. I'm sure there's going to be some IndyCar specific stuff that they have to figure out, but it's Toyota.
Right, it'll be a different packaging, but with how tight the packaging has been in sports cars for the last decade, I don't think they'll have any problem figuring that out. And it will be way more competitive out of the box than the Lotus boat anchors ever were.
So who switches? Toyota shows up and throws an engine down and says, "Hey, we've got an engine. Who wants it?" Who switches?
So I think you automatically say Penske, CGR, and Andretti are not going to switch. I think Chip could for the right amount of money, but Penske's not going to. They own Fillmore, right?
Yep.
So,
and Meyershank runs accurate DPIs.
Yep, they've got a tie-in, and they're Ohio kids.
Honda
So they've got the
program.
Ohio tie-in.
So Vassar Sullivan has the Lexus.
Vassar
Connect
Sullivan's the
and
number one option in my mind, and then you see some other teams down the field, right?
Does Dale Coyne go? You know what? We'll help. We'll go over to that to get that TRD money.
Dale Coyne will take that sweet Toyota money. And
Ray Holt will have Sato.
You're missing the big one. Where does Spam go? Well, I guess it's now just McLaren now that the season's over. Where does McLaren go?
Renault.
I don't think
when Alpine comes over, they go to Alpine.
So Renault.
Yeah, but Alpine has prettier colors. I like to say Alpine.
And we just like to say Alpine.
I do like to say Alpine.
I wish I could buy an Alpine here. That A110 is beautiful.
You can go spec one out, I think, on the internet.
I can spec one out, but I can't buy one, and that's the whole problem.
Well, I can't buy one either, but that's because I'm poor.
Yeah,
even if it was sold here.
Shadow Jesus actually lives like Jesus. He's in the dark, sandals on his feet on a good day.
Okay, Paul Tracy.
How disappointed were we that they did not have him in the fountain?
100%.
All of the disappointment.
Very. Or at the very least at the hairpin.
And let's speak to NBC disappointing us here. Where the hell was Snoop?
Where was
Yeah, that was a full-on press release. Was he like in the green room, like toking it up and decided not to come out? What happened to Snoop?
He was in the green room, all right.
Thank you for picking up what I'm putting down.
He's staying in the green room.
He's hotboxing that thing.
Yeah, I'm Googling it right now, and nowhere do I see.
They announced it.
Literally, it's all the announcement. Nothing else is there.
So we got to go from what about Dre to what about Snoop?
I guess you could say they forgot about Snoop.
They did.
I almost want to hit the button and kill this right now.
Chris, I will come up with more jokes.
There's a big part of me that says if this is the direction we're going to go, this needs to be put out of its misery.
Chris, we're working from a bunch of hangovers here. Cut us some slack.
Some of us are, some of us are not.
Some of you are just injured.
We were fine until the shoeies came out, and then we decided to do the NASCAR race because our new fans on Twitch and YouTube were like, "You should do the NASCAR race," and we said, "Okay,
let's go."
I ruined everything.
I had no input into the decision to do the NASCAR race. I was falling out of the recycle bin at that point.
Yeah, you were busy.
And then go into immediate care.
I can't believe you went to immediate care.
Dude, it hurts, man.
It's urgent care.
Well, I looked up Snoop on Twitter, Snoop Dogg IndyCar, and it's just people begging and pleading to see Snoop. I'm assuming nothing happened.
I am thoroughly disappointed. No, we didn't. There was no Snoop.
We didn't see it during the broadcast.
And there was
We need to make an
legitimately
inquiry.
drama in the
media
LBC.
There was a ton of drama in the LBC.
I think we need to contact IndyCar Media and have an official inquiry into this. Because
Yes, that's gonna be our podcast's first official inquiry to IndyCar. It's just gonna say where the fuck was Snoop?
Because hold on, I got another joke. IndyCar Media Communications, they're already on death row.
They hired a new marketing director today.
Aw.
They brought in the Butler Bulldogs marketing and communications director to be the new chief marketing officer over there at IMS. So
Butler? I've never heard of him.
Ed Carpenter's gonna smack you. He's a proud bulldog.
Yeah,
he needs to up his oval game if he wants to keep driving. And
I
I
think
say
so
that
long as he
as
owns
an
a
Ed
race car.
Carpenter.
Yeah, as a man who's got pieces of Ed Carpenter race car parts behind you.
Right?
I think if I owned a race team, I would be in a race at least
I
once
do
a
have
year
a very
for the rest of
rare
my life.
Ed Carpenter road course raced front wing right here next to
Wow.
me.
I believe you have the only one in existence.
He's been looking for that. He thinks he did a road course race. He's not sure. He wanted to find out to prove it.
Yeah, Snoop will intro the title contenders and preview the race that's Sunday at 3 p.m. ET on NBC Sports Network.
Yeah, what happened?
You know what? I'm going to go talk to Marshall Pruitt about this because he'll know.
Yes. If there is a guy that would know, it would be MP.
Is the Venn diagram of IndyCar Media, and Long Beach and Snoop Dogg just Marshall Pruitt in the center of that circle?
It
somehow.
could be.
And somehow Roscoe's is in there as well.
Somehow,
Oh,
some
man,
way.
I would do a lot of things for some
I just keep
Roscoe's
doing
right now.
this funky ass shit every single day.
Oh my god!
Although as good
we're
as
getting off the
Roscoe's
rails, and we're
is-
not drinking here, boys.
I literally cannot drink.
Because everybody coming
No.
off of it.
I am fairly certain I am sweating beer at this point. It has gotten very warm in the NRN studios.
That's
I
I
had
will
to go
say
to the DMV this morning, and the DMV with a hangover is not a good time.
Ooh. You know what you guys? If you
what's
guys
worse,
like Roscoe's
urgent care
chicken
or
and
the
waffle,
DMV?
DMV.
The
by
DMV
far.
was not a good time. I definitely was like, I'm not still drunk this morning, am I? Also,
Yeah,
not a
Till
good
6
idea.
a.m.?
The sushi before the NASCAR race was a very, very,
Ooh.
very bad idea.
Yes.
Takes.
It all stayed down, but there were some moments today where this guy eating sushi over here, yeah, I questioned my decisions too, my friend.
Oh, yes. All right, let's do this. We're already a half hour into this.
Let's talk about IndyCar.
This is going to take us a while to get through. Let's review our picks from last weekend's Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Unfortunately, IndyCar hasn't updated their media site yet, which is a complete and utter shock.
That is so on brand.
In so many ways. Taking a look here at our pineapples of the week. Ben, you tried to go chalk, and I don't think you got it right. Dalton Kellett was your pick for the loser of the week, and he finished
on the lead lap.
19th on the lead lap.
Somebody picked Pato. I'm going to be really upset.
Okay, hold on here. We'll get there. And there's definitely getting to get to there. Christian picked Graham Rahal to be his loser of the week. He came home with a 16th place finish. James Watson took Pato O'Ward to be the pineapple of the week.
Man.
Comes home 27th. Yeah, but remember, he picked Will Power to win, so it's not like he had that great of a day. Jason, you are a rock star, man. You nailed it yesterday. Colton Herta was your pick for anchovy of the week. Mike had Max Chilton. Did he even run? Oh, yeah, he was 15th.
15th.
Wow.
Yeah,
How the hell did
even
Chilton
run.
get to 15th?
Magic.
They worked out his visa issues this week.
Yes, they did. I was almost as good as Jason. I took Alex Palou because I wanted to see the championship implode. Palou coming home 4th. So I'm not the loser there. Jason, congratulations on your pick for Pineapple of the Week being a race winner. And James Watson gets a win late in the season here, picking losers. We also asked the question, we asked 2 questions before we get to our race winners here. Would Alexander Rossi finish in the top 10 in points? By that thin hairs on his chinny chin, Alexander Rossi comes home 10th in points, 6 ahead of Takuma Sato. So Ben and Jason, only 2 to get that one right. Everybody else had Alexander Rossi finishing outside the top 10 in points. Potentially, there was
we're experts.
Drama there, though. Him and Elio Sunday morning was fun.
They brought the heat.
Yeah.
They did not forget it.
What did
So
Rossi
much
call
drama
him?
in
Cute?
the LBC.
He didn't say adorable. That's Hinch's word.
No, that's Hinch.
But Rossi said something very, very similar about Castro Neves on Sunday morning. That was fun. The other question we asked was, who was most likely to go in the fountain? I'm pretty sure Ed Jones would be the guy who somebody's holding his head underwater for a while in that fountain.
Zach Brown.
Yeah, Zach Brown straight up.
Zach or Taylor Keel is waterboarding Ed Jones in the fountain as we speak.
I think Zach
While
Brown might want to be
beating him with
waterboarded
Pato's
after that
broken half
Sunday.
shaft.
Man,
that like seeing that half shaft flop around was heartbreaking.
Seeing Paul Tracy do actual analysis with the telestrator.
Yes, he did.
He's trying to save his job, and now that he knows that Hinch is going to be available for the booth next year.
And Bourdais.
I like how zero people disagreed with that.
Yeah. That was PT was kind of interesting this weekend. He was actually on point a fair bit, which was very un-PT like of him.
He's got to try one race a year.
He was kind of close to home. Probably had his wife like, hey, don't fuck up today. There was probably some of that.
He went to the beach to see some feet. He felt calm, relaxed.
He probably had his boat right there in the dock so that he could run a new propeller and check the blade pitch.
You think he pulled a Raikkonen and just walked out to the boat in his suit?
And just left. That's how PT left Long Beach yesterday. Mike drop, show's over. Mike drop, walks out to the boat. I'm out of here, fuckers. All right, let's look at
on brand for him.
let's look at our race winning picks here for the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Ben, close but no cigar. Joseph Newgarden coming home 2nd was your pick to win. Christian had Scott Dixon coming home 3rd. My God, we sound like experts. Until we get to James Watson, who had Will Power, who finished a solid 10th. But he didn't.
That's just blind devotion.
He didn't wreck anybody in the hairpin. He did royally foobar qualifying
Twice.
He was doing Will Power things on Saturday. I guess that would have been Sunday in Australia, right?
Yeah.
Crikey.
See, he was just a day early. Jason had Simon Pagenaud getting a race win. He came home 5th. My God, we actually know what the hell we're talking about.
That's like the quietest 5th I think anybody's ever had.
Yeah, and Rossi was very quietly 6th. That was Mike McCullen's pick for the race
So
win.
we picked 5 of the top 6 as our race wins.
Yeah, and nobody picked Turda.
2, 3, 5, 6, and 24. I had Roman Grosjean winning.
To be fair, he had pace.
Yes, he went out with contact 75 laps in. So doesn't totally tell the story of his day. Yeah, we actually had a pretty decent week of picks here.
How did nobody pick Herta, though?
We didn't last
Because
week
they figured
either.
they figured he just won, so at least that was my mental calculus.
Well, we know you're not real good at gymnastics, so
I did, but I didn't say mental gymnastics because then I would have just knocked over the metaphorical recycling bin and not the real one.
you should try that next time. Less
That's
money.
what my ribs are telling me.
Spent at the urgent care.
I got to fill up that deductible somehow.
Now let's give Jason some props here. He did say after Barber on this very show that Alex Palou would win the championship. Were you smart enough to back up your prediction with any money, though?
You know what's fantastic about IndyCar is that it's such a niche sport that zero betting sites will allow you to lay a wager on who's going to win the championship.
The bookies are so clueless. The bookmakers are so clueless about IndyCar. We should be setting the odds here for the odds makers.
You know,
Not us.
We are experts. We should next season. We should have a segment on betting. The only problem with that in IndyCar is the lines don't come out till Wednesday or Thursday. And if we're doing a Monday show,
I guess that means we're going twice a week, huh?
Oh no! I don't have the time.
My beer budget isn't that large.
Actually, we're going 3 times a week because we're going to do the race watch-alongs as well.
Oh, I'm going to need a liver transplant by the end of next season.
I know some transplant doctors. I can hook you up.
And there'll be some live race ones because we're going to have a couple of good crews out there. We're going to have a good crew for Iowa. We'll probably have a good crew for the 500.
And in sports car land, we're going to have a massive party in Daytona.
We're going to be all over the sports car map.
Yes, we are going to blanket the Daytona International Speedway
with idiocy.
Actually, you know what we could do? We're going to have so many people there. We could do a live play-by-play of the race
from Geico West Park. So you can't even actually see the track. So you're just commenting on like, oh, this guy has stumbled by for the 4th time in the last hour.
We could put everybody on two-way radios. Put everybody on two-way radios. And we've done this before. We did this at Pocono. We did a radio-style call for the vintage cars at Pocono. We could have turn reporters. We could.
How quickly do we get taken down by IMSA?
I don't think we would.
It's NASCAR though. They already took you down for Vegas, so you're on their
and
radar.
Did they send John Hindhaugh to break our knees?
So here's the thing: we would be nowhere near as exciting as Hindhaugh, but we'd be a little more accurate as to what actually is happening.
Yeah, but he's got Shea, and nobody can compete with Shea.
I'm sure
she carries that show.
Sure, we could find somebody with a modicum of talent to make us look good.
We haven't yet.
That's a very good point. All right, well, yeah, let's get back on topic here. We got about 15 minutes left to go here, guys. Looking at the driver market for next season, a lot of things have come into place. Since we left the air yesterday, Simon Pagenaud confirmed at Meyershank Racing.
Bourdais to part-time.
Bourdais to part-time, likely with Foyt, but that's not signed yet. Scott Dixon is retiring. Will Power is going back to Australia. What do we think here? What's the next big shoe to drop this offseason? Do we have many shoes left to drop?
I think the biggest one that I see is Carlin, and what happens to Carlin? Are they still around? Do they bring Malukas on to run that second car? I think they've made it pretty clear that Chilton can't run that as a one-car team. They've got to have a second car, but if they need the funding to run that as a second. I
think it'll be Carlin with HMD.
I think that's likely.
Be a 2-car effort.
And what was the other one that came out today that you went, whoa? Oh, Foyt. Foyt wants to go to 3 cars for next season.
Yeah, Foyt wants to go to 3 cars, and I was talking Calderon.
Calderon's bringing a check.
Yes. She's not bringing talent.
I guess.
Sato Dale Coyne.
Yes, Sato to Coyne is not confirmed yet.
RV to RLL has not been confirmed or announced officially.
Even though it was the literal first story we had. It's somehow still not been confirmed.
Yes. Kalamilot running the full season for Juncos.
Confirmed.
That one is
VK
confirmed.
with an extension confirmed.
So we
Haley's
have
not confirmed.
It looks like we have potentially as many as 4 new cars on the grid for next season. And the only subtraction is Penske going from 4 to 3 in all likelihood. And I would say that is as close to signed, sealed, delivered as you're going to get.
Because they're going to take that whole crew and they're going to run the testing program for the Porsche LMDH.
And the IndyCar motor that's coming with it.
Yep.
What are we up to now? 6 engine manufacturers for 2023?
5, I believe.
5 or 6.
For what, LMDH?
No, IndyCar.
For IndyCar.
Oh, for IndyCar?
For 24 is what it sounds like, a very likelihood.
Good.
Basically, whenever the new car, what is the next new car, that's when you're going to see a bunch of new engine manufacturers come to the ballgame.
So hold up. Chris, your speculation is that Porsche, VAG, etc., and all their sub-brands will run a 2.4 liter
Porsche and who?
twin turbo V6 to be developed by Penske's sports car division next year, that they could also rebrand into a 2024 IndyCar entry. I don't believe that I've seen or heard anyone make that.
Nope.
No, that's what Chris just said. I'm not drunk. I'm just making sure that Chris is throwing this up on the wall and making a statement that is either prescient.
I think they're 2 separate things.
Okay.
I
because
think
that actually would be a hell of a call if it panned out.
It could be, but I doubt it. You got to remember, Penske is not tied at the hip with Chevrolet. He's tied at the hip with Ilmor.
Right.
Think about the history alone. Penske was running Chevrolet engines in 1994. And they showed up to Indianapolis with an Ilmor-built engine badged as a Mercedes.
East.
That literally ended the relationship between Penske and Chevy very acrimoniously. Penske has no qualms about somebody wants to throw money around, I will spend your money.
I mean, I think the question's always going to be what's in it for an engine manufacturer. So they go racing,
U.S.
but
market exposure. The Indy 500.
Yeah, but we don't talk about the engine manufacturer.
If you talk about U.S. Exposure, that kind of Toyota doesn't need that in any way.
Toyota's got it with NASCAR.
They got it with NASCAR more than they'll get it with IndyCar, if we're being honest here.
Of course, however, if they already have the sunk cost of the engine development.
Yeah, if they've already got something that they can retrofit to run an IndyCar with and I think they've probably those rules are already out there in terms of what the predicted format's going to be, so they kind of have an idea. So
if it allows them to play like accounting games on the back end and write off an extra like double amount of the engine development costs, like I'm sure that there are bean counters that are saying like some sort of tax advantaged status for maneuvering the development costs of that engine a second time.
Let's also not forget that there are things like the F1 cost cap that are going to screw with these manufacturers, because even if it's trickle down, where Mercedes is not spending $400 million a year anymore, they're spending $175 million. Mercedes is still going to spend that money somewhere.
Well, my understanding
in
is
terms
that
of the
engine
branding
development.
wars, in terms of the branding wars, Porsche is not going to get left behind. Audi is not going to get left behind, or Volkswagen, or whomever.
I feel like we're going to see a tie-in there with Red Bull, though. I think they're going to do a tie-in because now that Red Bull's bringing their engines in-house and taking that Honda program, do they do a tie-up with Volkswagen Group and have, just like Red Bull had, Renault engines, and then they rebadged them to Tag Heuer, which is hilarious. Do they do something where you have a Red Bull engine, associated with, Porsche or with Audi? I don't think, if I remember correctly, I don't think engine development goes to your team caps. I think they have to show on the balance sheet and on the financials that the engine units are separate from the teams, because you've got Mercedes who's developing engines not just for Mercedes. They're still putting them out there for Williams and for Aston Martin and for McLaren, and Renault's putting engines out for Alpine. And is there any other Renaults in the grid now?
Nope.
Yeah, so Renault has to be able to show that they've got that bucketized separately to say, hey, we're an engine supplier if somebody wants one. Same deal with Ferrari. They're going to take all their engine development costs and move them to different business units and say, hey, this is a separate business unit, and we just, we've got relationships internally to bring them over. So I don't know if, like, I think the car development and the cost caps are solely focused on running the team, on developing the cars outside of the engine, the aero, all that. But I could be entirely wrong because I am not an expert in F1.
Now, the flip side to that coin is, what is going to be the power plant of the future? Because as much as we want to talk about electric or hydrogen or anything else that we're going to run, Willie Nelson's weed-based biodiesel, you still have, at least for the time being, gas-powered engines. The EU and the UK, I believe the number is 2035. They want to outlaw internal combustion engines. You're going to hit a point where development of those freezes. What is the most practical of motor concepts that you could run? Inline 4-cylinder twin turbo.
Yep.
It's what IndyCar's running.
Well, no, we're V6s still.
I think you're going to see them go to the 4.
Yeah, I think it'll be the next engine evolution
after the next one. And I think that, we've seen some development around biofuels. I know that Porsche was starting to play with biofuels. I know that, in the endurance space, hydrogen is big because, let's face it, you're never going to run a 24-hour endurance race on battery power. It's just not going to happen. So hydrogen's got to be the play that I think the ACO is all in on. And they were going to have, the last I saw, hydrogen cars taking the grid against your LMHs and your LMDHs come 2024, I think was the target for that.
My only worry about a hydrogen fuel cell is that like Le Mans 55 Part 2,
Oh, yeah.
I think there's more realistic potential issues of, can you run a hydrogen fuel cell car on an oval? Can you protect it enough to run that car at Indianapolis?
I think there's viable plays here. I think hydrogen's a viable play. I think electric is a viable play for some racing series. I think biofuels are a viable play. Because look, when we look at it, racing in general, in terms of the total petroleum consumption in the world, is a niche, right? That is a very, very, very small fraction of the amount of fuel that's being produced. If you could have a manufacturer make a biofuel to support the motorsport industry and say, hey, look, you either have to do electric, you have to do hydrogen, or you have to do this natural biofuel that's not polluting and not derived from petroleum sources. Those are your options for motorsport. I think that's a viable option.
Agreed.
So you're
And
telling me
let
that
the
Elon
individual
Musk
series-
is going to make a smaller version of the Raptor engine that'll be powered, so we'll have like a liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen. So it's going to put out
You could.
water vapor.
We've really gone off the rails for us.
God
We really have.
damn.
This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. I don't know, but if motorsport is going to persist, right? We've been racing shit since we
the second
appeared on
car
this
was
planet.
built.
Yeah, the second car was built. And they were like, "Fuck it, let's race." We've been and then we've raced horses, we raced dogs, we raced chickens, we raced whatever the hell we can get our hands on to race. We're going to race something.
You
So
ever seen ostrich
motorsport
races,
isn't
by the
going
way?
away. I have not, but I know that
Ostrich racing is
camel races.
fantastic.
You've got
I've seen camel racing. That's
camel races.
intense.
The point is that our competition and our competitive nature as human beings is not going to go away. The motorsport industry isn't going to die with the internal combustion engine. It's going to adapt, just like it adapted from horse racing to internal combustion engine, and there a little bit of electric stuff here and there. It's going to adapt.
And dare I say, it has to happen sooner than later. Because
yes,
this is an example of an actually working example of trickle-down economics. You have to get it in the local hands, too. And yes, NASCAR and IndyCar and IMSA, they can all run on electrics and hydrogens and everything else. But when the local guys, girls, people can't run their local races, the big stuff goes away, too. So...
But you know what series is absolutely primed to introduce a top-level electric division?
NASCAR?
No, NHRA. It is perfectly set up. You have short power application. You don't have to worry about you don't have to solve the long-distance conundrum, right? Like, it kind of surprises me that NHRA has not launched some sort of electric.
That's because the NHRA
top
is more
series.
incompetent than USAC.
I mean, that's how much electric power can we dump out of a motor through tires in split seconds.
How many capacitors can we shove behind Ashley Force? And I don't know what, to me, that's I don't know. I'm not a marketer, but I think is a brand opportunity for NHRA to pivot to, okay, it doesn't have the earth-shattering, make you cry and curl into the fetal position of a Top Fuel or a funny car coming off the line.
And that's exactly going to be the problem. Is I don't know that world that well, but I've got a good sense that the guys and people who run in drag racing and the community around it isn't gonna want to see electric drag racing.
You've got guys showing up in Tesla at your local sportsman class.
Yeah, but that's different than the NHRA.
I know, but I'm saying there is grassroots support for it there. They just have to get their head out of their ass enough to roll out, and if they did it, people would come and they would get investment. Otherwise, they're on a trajectory, and I love the NHRA. I live 5 minutes from IRP. I sit on my patio every Labor Day weekend and just listen to the sounds of freedom. But at some point, that's not going to be viable to rebuild a ethanol engine. The cost.
But ethanol's already a biofuel.
Let's get back to IndyCar here for a second. Headline.
Thanks, Chris.
Headline from motorsport.com. Joseph Newgarden likens Alex Palou to Scott Dixon.
He's Scott Dixon Jr.
Absolutely. He's got the demeanor of Scott. He's got all the right people around him. I really wish I could have heard what Scott whispered in his ear after he won.
It probably like, you know what he probably said is,
next one's mine, kid.
No, I guarantee you he said, buddy, I love fried chicken too. I just never told anyone.
Emma won't let me.
Yeah. We're going to avoid that one.
Also, how awesome was there was no wife cam? I didn't see.
There was dad cam.
There was dad cam, but we didn't get like IndyCar wife chewing on destroyed water bottle for half of the broadcast, which was fantastic.
How great was Jimmy Johnson crashing the Astra Cup presentation ceremony?
That dude has turned into an IndyCar fiend. And it's funny, I don't know if you guys caught the story of that it was his first time at the Grand Prix of Long Beach in 26 years where he was pounding the pavement trying to get a ride in open wheel. And basically he said, sorry, kid, you got to go somewhere else. So he switched, and now he's back. First time back. That's pretty cool.
I love it.
And I'm fully on board with this newly competent Jimmy Johnson in open wheel cars.
I am too. And you can find the rant and you can play it. I will eat every one of those words.
Yes. Unfortunately, we don't have that readily available. But with that, I think that's a good spot to end here. Mike is wrong. Jason was right about something, and he doesn't like trash cans. Ben may be dead somewhere.
Ben.
I don't think the trash can liked him.
And so far, the only guy that has a clue on this show has barely talked tonight, Christian Jasper. With that, we're going to wrap things up here. This show was interesting, almost as dumpster fire-ish as our live show yesterday. But to wrap up our first partial season, we were a partial season entrant this year. I think we're coming back full time for 2022. What do you think here, boys?
Absolutely.
I'm in for it.
It's too much fun not to come back.
Next year, we're going to do it with a video format as well. So if we're ever allowed back on YouTube, we will post that to the YouTube feed. We may even do it live on YouTube and then put it out to the podcast platforms the next day. But we are coming back for next season. We're not going anywhere yet either. We'll probably go to every other week-ish over the off season, take a little time off around the holidays, but this one is going to be fun. The show is not going anywhere. We're going to be back strong for 2022. But with that, we are getting the hell out of here.
Right on.
For Ben Carswell, Christian Jasper, Jason Owens, Mike McCullen, James Watson, who was unavailable for tonight, but thank you very much, James, for your contributions this season as well. You guys were freaking awesome, and this show going to be good next year, that's for sure. But with that, my name's Chris Graham. We're getting out of here. We will talk to you all soon on the next episode of Pizza at the Pagoda. See you later, everybody.